I'm Enzo Cannizzaro, a professor of law at Università La Sapienza, of European law at Università La Sapienza. And I wish to express my gratitude to the organizer of this event, in particular to the Professoressa Caterina Del Colle, who invited me to this event, which I hope to be a very interesting and rewarding event. I'm very sorry, I have a very low voice, but I hope this is not a problem. The class of today concerns general topic about European integration. European integration is a project which is unique in its being a process of integration among several states. Nobody before the European Union has ever dreamed to put together several states in a network which integrate not only the states, but also and probably preeminently the individual, the citizen, in a design which is grandiose and also philosophically very interesting. You may be aware of what the European Union today is. It's an international organization, but it's more than international organizations like the others. It is really something which resembles a state, and in English it is often referred to as a quasi-state entity or state-like entity. It means that the European Union is not a state, but something which resembles a state, and which perform the functions of a state. We live under rules enacted by the European Union. We can claim rights and duties provided by the legislator of the Union. We have judges of the Union to which we can claim our rights. And all in all, we have a sort of double allegiance. We are Italian or French or German, respectively, but we feel also Europeans. Europeans is a sense of identity which builds on the sense of the national identity, of our national identity. And to me, without being too emphatic, to me, this means that a nation state which was born and thriving in Europe, national state, is to be reconciled with processes of integration in a very larger extent, which unite peoples and individuals. This is the most intimate sense of the European Union. But the European Union was born, first of all, to integrate economics. This is the original philosophy of the European Union, on the belief that by creating economic and social ties among the European people, the confidence will be strengthened, and it would be possible to pass over and to create also political ties and identities. And this is precisely what happened. The European Union has as its ancestor European Community, European Economic Community, having competences only in fields of economic and social matters. But now the situation evolved very rapidly. In 70 years, the European Union went over these original premises, and nowadays we can confidently state that we are in the presence of another constitutional entity, which is, as I said, not a state, but something which resembles a state. And I want to present in my speech two of the main constitutional features of the European Union: the values and the citizenship. I, for sake of clarity, want to present on the screen a provision. I'm a lawyer. I cannot live without provisions. But provisions have also a political, philosophical meaning, and I hope to be able to convey to you this inner meaning of these provisions, which I will mention, which I will refer to. The provision which I would like to show you on the screen is Article 2. Article 2 reads, "The Union is founded on the values of respect for human dignity, freedom, democracy, equality, the rule of law, and respect for human rights, including the rights of persons belonging to minorities. These values are common to the member states in a society in which pluralism, non-discrimination, tolerance, justice, solidarity, and equality between women and men prevail." This is a strange article. Strange article because it looks like, it sounds like a constitutional provision. A provision which lay down the basic value which are the common task of a people. Every people, every nation has common values, because contemporary nations are community of people who share common values. In Article 2, there is nothing which speaks of economic integration. Article 2 is about values. Values which, of course, also encompass economic integration, but values which also speaks of every sort of common principles which the European peoples must share. Please look at the second sentence of this provision. These values are common to the member states. It means that the European Union is based on values which are common to the citizenries of the member states, and therefore are values which can be transposed to the European Union. And the European Union must, in all its actions and in all its policy, respect and promote these values. Article 2 is the ultimate outcome of a process of evolution of the European Union from the original economic community to the constitutionalization process. I think that somebody talked to you of the constitutionalization process which was performed by the Court of Justice, the transformation from the treaty which established the European Union to a constitution of the European Union. But this attempt, which was endeavored by the European Court of Justice, had some limits. The limits were set by the treaties, and the Court of Justice can transform the treaty provisions in constitutional provisions, but cannot amend, modify the treaties. Therefore, the process of constitutionalization was, of course, a partial constitutionalization. Nowadays, we have the Article 2. Article 2 seems to complete the process of constitutionalization of the European Union by adding to the normative set of the Union the values. And I would like to dig a bit more on this concept to propose to you the effect, what the effect of the values can be. The values common to the member states is the set to the European Union objective. Objective which must be implemented by all the activities, the actions, the policy, I said, of the European Union. And therefore, the lack of respect for the values of the Union produced the invalidity of the norms of the Union. The best example I can propose to you is the so-called democratic backslides of some of the member states of the Union, in particular Poland and Hungary. You may know that the member states of the European Union cannot be expelled from the Union, cannot be turned away. They are member states until such time they don't decide by themselves to withdraw from the Union. The Union cannot expel any member state. And this is a further element of constitutionality. Initially, we cannot expel Sicily. In Germany, Germany cannot expel Bavaria. In France, cannot be expelled the Provence. So this is a very strong signal that the community of individuals is forever. But what happens with the member states which cannot be expelled, lose the path of the virtue? The member states become dictatorial, violate human rights, violate the rule of law. What happened? What happens? Well, Article 2 simply states that all the member states must respect the values of the Union. But on that basis, on the basis of Article 2, the Commission, the European Commission, and the Court of Justice started to invalidate. It's a technical term I use in a technical sense. Invalidate the rules of the states which don't respect the values of the Union. This happened in particular with regard to the independence of the judiciary. The independence of the judiciary is an essential trait of the rule of law. You may know the famous say, there must be a judge in Berlin. And a judge in Berlin that exists if he is independent from the political power in order to protect our individual rights. And in this context, the Commission and the Court of Justice invalidated, in an atechnical sense, the rules of the member states which limited the independence of the judiciary, which is really a revolutionary accomplishment. This is a revolutionary accomplishment, which ultimately led the people in Poland to vote against the previous government, which decided to have an authoritative or quasi-authoritative political course. This is a very important signal for the European Union. In Poland, the people was called to pronounce themselves in free election for the values of the Union or for the authoritative model democracy proposed and practiced by their government. And they chose the values of the Union. The Union's values have effect also on the international sphere. In Article 3, paragraph 5, it is written that in its relation with the wider world, the Union shall uphold and promote its values and interests, etc., but its values. It means that the Union, which is a very powerful international actor, must promote outside the Union its values. The Union is committed to create an international setting inspired by the values of democracy and the rule of law. And the Union shall contribute, I read the second sentence of paragraph 5, contribute to peace, security, to sustainable development of the heart, solidarity and mutual respect among people, free and fair trade, eradication of poverty and the protection of human rights, and the strict observance and the development of international law, including respect for the principles of the United Nations Charter. On the basis of Article 5, I prefer not to enter into technicalities. On the basis of Article 5, the Union, not a member state, the Union decided to support Ukraine, which was attacked, aggressed by the Russian Federation, and this support allowed the Ukraine to stall the aggression and probably to repeal forever this aggression. This is something which depends on the subsequent event, but the Union measured its capacity of an actor of international law on its values, on promoting its values. And I wish the Union will do the same in the lasting time conflict, the Gadsden conflict. The Union must not take side in that conflict, but must absolutely call for a ceasefire and call for an equitable settlement of the dispute between Palestine and Israel. A settlement based on respect of the people, the self-determination of the people, and the security of the people on the basis of the resolution of the United Nations Charter. So, as you say, the values, far from being a mere exhortatory proclamation, has some normative consequences. Internally and externally. In Europe, in all the member states of the Europe, the values of the fundamental rights of individuals and rule of law must be observed. And the Union promotes these values also in the worldwide dimension. It's really something which should be proud of our Union. Well, the second part of my speech is devoted to the European citizenship. And here I must refer to another legal provision, but as you have seen, I don't enter into legal subtleties, not in legal technologies, but I want to share with you the philosophical and political meaning of these provisions. Citizenship of the Union is hereby established. This is a very lapidary sentence. I think that you, in the course of your higher studies, came across to the famous sentence, cives romans sum, and citizenship of the Union is hereby established. Resound as cives Europaeus sum. Every person holding the nationality of the member state shall be a citizen of the Union. Citizenship of the Union shall be additional to and not replace national citizenship. This last sentence is particularly significant. The Union don't want to substitute, to replace the member states. The Union wants to be an entity which works side by side with the member state. And its citizenship is not exclusive. The Union does not claim exclusive allegiance, but share the allegiance with the national citizenship, in accordance with another provision of the treaty, which I don't refer to expressly, which state that the Union respect the identity of the constitutional identity of the member states. That means that we have common values and common identity of the Union, but member states can have a distinct constitutional identity. and therefore this identity must be respected. Well, these notions created a very long and probably enduring conflict between the Court of Justice and the European Constitutional Court of the member states. But also from the conflict can come a good outcome. All the conflict are a source of fertilization and to establish what is the common identity of the Union and the distinctive identity of the member states is not easy. And there, of course, there must be conflict. But conflict, not armed conflict, are conflict of case law. And it's much better having conflict of case law than armed conflicts. Well, you know that the history of Europe for centuries was a history of war. Now it's a history of conflict of case law. And I welcome this as a great advancement. Well, if we look the subsequent provision, you will remain more or less disappointed. Citizenship of the Union does not mean much. It entails 4 or 5 rights. The rights to move and reside freely within the territories of the member states, which is not a small thing. It is not a small thing. Nowadays, we are entitled and we are accustomed to fly and pass the barrier, the frontier of all the European member states and stay as long as you want. Well, I am a bit older than you, and when I was your age, I need a passport, if not even a visa, to freely circulate in Europe. And the police could turn me away. Well, I have a very dark complexion, and sometimes I was really on the edge of being turned away for a sort of implicit form of racism by the policies of some member states. Now it is not possible anymore. The right to vote in the election of the European Parliament and the municipal elections in their member state of residence, which is symbolically very interesting. Everybody of us, every citizen of Europe, can candidate to European Parliament in every member state in which the elections are held. I, as Italian, can represent the French electors to the European Parliament. And also in the municipal elections, the same, and perhaps even more felicitous. The right to enjoy the protection of diplomatic and consular authorities of all the member states, the right to petition to the European Parliament. This is the nominal rights which assist the European citizenship. But the Court of Justice went much beyond these 4 rights, very much, and created really a citizenship of the Union which function nicely, in particular for issues of reunification of family and so on and so forth. But apart these technicalities, it is really a very constitutional meaning which matters in the citizenship of the Union. In the citizenship of the Union, it means that we must allegiance to the Union. We can have recourse to the Union also against the member states, our member states, which sometimes quite frequently, of course, violates our rights flowing from the European Union. And this is really important. I can ask protection from the Union in front, from the member states violating the Union law, in front of our judges, Italian judges, which protect us against the political power. And the judges, the national judges, can refer the case to the Court of Justice, which condemned, if the case will be, the state, and demand to repristinate, to comply with our individual right flowing from European law. This was impossible. It was impossible before the European Union, because each state vindicated its absolute sovereignty. And this is probably, in this resides probably the most important effect of the European integration. To have an entity which attenuated, which not destroyed, but significantly reduced the meaning of sovereignty. Sovereignty could be a virtuous notion, but could also be a very vicious notion. Sovereignty can be used well to protect individuals, but also can be used very badly to persecute individuals and violate their rights. Nowadays, we have a higher normative circle to which we can have recourse. The European Union. European Union, which its values, its fundamental rights, its citizenship. And also in these recent episodes in which the European Union stands as the protector of the citizenship of the Poland and Hungary against the state, we can show that the Union is really protecting the rights and values of everybody in Europe, and as I said, also perhaps outside Europe. I think that I exhausted my time, and I wish to you very pleasant life in the Western countries. We are enjoying democracy and rule of law, and we hope that this should be spread out also in the entire world. But our life here, it's, well, socially pleasant. I don't know if also personally, but I wish you a social and personal pleasant life. And if you want to know more on the European Union, you can perform further studies on the Union, which is not the ideal, it's not the promised land, not the ideal world, but it's a step, a significant step of the humanity toward tolerance and integration. Thank you very much.